A group of town residents has launched a petition drive in hopes of electing a Home Rule Charter Commission when voters go to the polls in April. The North Attleboro Citizens Home Rule Action Committee is hoping to collect 3,000 signatures on a petition calling for the election of a 9-member Home Rule Charter Commission. 2 members of that group, Mitch MacDonald and former town administrator Mark Fisher, joined me on this set earlier today.
The process for an elected home rule charter process under Chapter 43B requires 15% of the registered voters in town. That's around 2,600, 2,650, but inevitably you get people who sign a petition who aren't registered voters. It's surprising. So we've set a goal at 3,000 signatures. That's where the number comes from.
Now, Mitch, I received the email you sent out, the press release about this group and the goals. What I did not read, or maybe I missed it, was the mention of a mayor or, what form of government this charter commission would be looking towards.
I'm glad you missed that because that was intended. That is not part of our mission. What we are endeavoring to do is stay out of the should it be this, should it be that, what are the virtues of this, what are the virtues of that. What we're aiming to do right now is much simpler but critically important, and that's putting a new platform in place, replacing the bylaw form of government with the Home Rule Charter. With that in place, the process for achieving change, whether you want a mayoral form of government, a town council form of government, or whatever you might want, this will really empower the voters to act directly to achieve that, which is something right now with the multi-layered and very complex process we don't have, and I'm sure Mark would agree, I think most folks would agree, over the past decade plus we've learned that the process of effecting change as it exists now is so complex that the town really, we as a town have not sufficiently figured out a way to navigate the current process. So to my mind, and Mark had brought this up a few months ago when he had the idea, this is really about creating a new platform that takes a lot of the steps out and empowers the voters directly to have a greater voice to achieve change based on their vote.
Yeah, just adding to that, and we're not advocating that we just take the bylaws and convert them to a charter. We're not advocating that either. And the reason why the Home Rule Charter process, instead of the Special Act Charter process, which has been attempted multiple times in this town, is that this deals strictly with the people. RTM has absolutely no involvement in the process. The Board of Selectmen, no independently elected board in town or appointed board in town has anything to do with the process. The people decide if they want to have it or not. The people decide who's going to be the 9 charter commission members. And then once the Attorney General approves the wording of whatever's recommended by this commission, and it's just legal review, then it's back to the people. And that's the difference. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
Do you envision the people running for one of these 9 seats on the Charter Commission campaigning based on, I think we need a mayoral form of government, or I think we need a strong town manager form of government, and therefore would be elected based on what they would like to see go forward? Because otherwise, you elect someone, you have no idea what they're going to propose.
Yeah. Do we envision? By all means, you're going to envision all potential scenarios, and that certainly is one. I might even say it's likely, but not sure.
Because I know if I'm interviewing a candidate, that's one of the questions I'll ask.
But we hope not.
Yeah. I'll use myself as, true. I am purely down the middle on this. I am neither for nor against any other change in form of government, town council, mayor. My mind is open. I've not yet heard a compelling explanation as to what it would improve, but I'm not convinced it wouldn't improve. What we do know, we all know, is through various non-binding questions, other efforts, or so on and so forth, it seems pretty clear that there is a segment of the citizenry that wants an opportunity to make change. And what this really comes down to for me, the simplest way, if someone would say, well, why should I sign this petition? Why would I? So just answer this simple question. Would you like the voters of this town to be able to effect change in the form of government without any board, commission, agency, or any politician getting in the way? If your answer is yes, then you should sign this petition.
So what are the steps? You collect the 3,000 signatures. What would then happen?
The 3,000 signatures have to be submitted to the Board of Election Commissioners 100 days prior to the annual election, which puts it around Christmas. So we've set a deadline for the December 23rd. Then the election commissioners, once they have a certain time frame to certify all the signatures, and if the 15% is there, then it goes on the ballot. And automatically they also put on the ballot that they're going to be seeking, people running for the 9 positions.
Okay.
And the timeline for submitting those papers are identical to taking out papers to run for the RTM. So you'll know when that timeline starts as to whether or not, this process, one of the issues is that this has got to be an open process. It's got to be where the people who are elected go in with an open mind, listen to the people, listen to the elected and appointed officials, listen to the employees, listen to everybody. We've got to do something to our government for the future. We've got to make sure that we've got a government that is designed and constructed so that we can deal with the future. It has served us well up until now, but we've got to make sure it's designed. And if you go in with a closed mind, saying, "Oh, we need this, we need that," then you're really not listening to the people. The Special Act Charter that went to the state legislature back in 2000, that was vehemently opposed by the members of the Board of Selectmen, but it was a group that sent it up there. The reason why it died in committee was because they said the process was not properly vetted with the citizens. They didn't listen to what the citizens had to say.
9 people. I think 9 precincts. Would it be 1 per precinct, or it's just 9? You could have all 9 from one precinct.
All at large.
Okay, so all at large. So the commission is elected. They come up with this charter. Because you're taking the route you're going, does not need the approval of RTM, which always amazed me. RTM's not going to vote themselves out of business. This time they would not have a vote, right?
They would not have a vote. That's correct. What happens is the law calls it a report, but it's a charter. They have 16 months once they're elected to come up with their report. Then there's like a 2-month process where it is dealing with the Attorney General's office, and what the Attorney General's office is doing is checking it against the state constitution and make sure that everything is lined up, and they can work back and forth with the charter commission to make adjustments that have to be made. Then once they're done with it, then it comes back to the people to be voted on.
So it would be on a future April ballot, and if it were to happen, it would indeed, if it were to pass, it takes effect. It's a binding.
Yeah, I mean, if everything went properly, we'd probably be talking being on the ballot in the April 2019 election.
Mm-hmm.
I said binding, and you shook your head, nodded your head yes.
Yeah, we all know binding, not binding, research, polls, whatever. Yeah, that's why we think we're confident a big segment would like to look at some changes. But Mark used the word vetted with the state legislature and their disagreement with the last attempt. It really does truly have to be vetted, and we have to look at what are the pros and cons. Even within mayor, how many different forms of mayoral government do you want? Okay, which one do you want? And I think a lot of the sentiment toward change, just purely a personal bill, not reflective of this initiative, is that there are a lot of folks in America disenchanted with government right now. And when you don't like something and someone says, would you like it changed, you're predisposed to say yes. So it's very much could be a support for the devil we don't know. Let's learn more about that devil before we go there.
Good point. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's going to be a great education process for the citizens about what our government does do. And also, we're enthralled by the number of young people who are getting involved in this process. I think we've got something like 10 people that are in their teens and 20s.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's great. And the other thing that's phenomenal is that of the 58 people we have on the list now, 26 of them have no affiliation with anything in government at all. They're not RTM members, they're not appointed, they're not on a committee. 26, what I'm going to call raw citizens.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, good luck.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
Appreciate your time, Peter.
North TV will, of course, be following the process of that committee and report to you throughout the year.